Dustin Schutte from Saturday Tradition with me. Matt Taylor will join us later on. Cal Nedenrip. Plenty to talk about. Dustin mentioned something about a game tonight. There's some big game going on, I think. Yeah, Indiana-Purdue basketball. There's something we'll be able to look at. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. It's 77. I've got my one last tea time set up down here in Florida before I head back to Georgia. So I'm doing good right now. How are you?
My last tea time set up in Florida before I head a few miles north to Georgia.
Hey, you know what? They've been getting snow back home, so I don't want to hear it.
They've been getting snow back home. I don't want to hear it. You don't know what snow is, man. You left the state of Indiana.
I did. Correct. And with no intent of returning when it's snowing.
And it's not
outside.
the snow. We're not getting tons of snow. It's just the freaking cold. I hate cold. I hate the cold. Hate it.
This is why I'm a 33-year-old snowbird.
30, and if it gets down into the upper 30s, 40s, no big deal. You go down below that, that sucks. Ross has got snow in 13. He's down in southern Kentucky, I believe. Michael's with us.
The worst part is my least favorite was always the ice. I didn't care that much about the snow, but the ice, man, that'll get you.
Yes, it will. You don't have to worry about that in Florida, that's for sure.
Nope.
You won't have to worry about that tonight inside the Simon Skjodt Assembly Hall either. It will be pretty warm and toasty as Indiana welcomes, number 4 ranked Purdue Boilermakers and the number 1 ranked offense in the country against a defense that had been ranked pretty high but has slipped a little bit in these last few games. No question. These bigs, man, that's going to be the story tonight, Dustin. I mean, Zach Edey I keep calling him Yao Ming 2.0.
And that's been like the Achilles heel for Indiana in these past rivalry games against Purdue. I mean, we can also talk about the coaching because obviously that's been a big difference in the past too. But think about all the bigs that have hurt Indiana in the past. A.J. Hammonds, Matt Harms, Isaac Haas. Now you have Zach Edey and Travion Williams against Trace Jackson Davis. This is going to be a real big test for Indiana, especially in the post, I think. But, if Indiana can shoot the ball as well as they have at home, I mean, we've seen Purdue. They've not been able to defend at times. They had trouble defending Wisconsin. They struggled against Rutgers, even without Geo Baker on the floor. So while Purdue is really good and they can score the basketball, and I just broke my own rule. I hate when people say score the basketball, but this is a Purdue team that's shown some susceptibility. So if Indiana can hit some shots, they've got a really good shot to end that 9-game losing streak and not get it to double digits.
Yeah, the enormity of the win for Indiana. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, but it would just carry over in a lot of different ways. It's just become this thing that shouldn't be there. But not only have they lost 9 straight to Purdue, yesterday I was talking to Rick Bozich, they play Michigan next. They've lost 8 straight to Michigan.
Wow.
So you're facing the next 2 teams you've lost 17 straight games to. And you just ended a road streak, a losing streak, which would be great. And I talked to Rick yesterday. I'm like, man, can you imagine if they were able to vanquish this streak and that Michigan streak in succession? What that would do? Wow. You talk about and the national narrative. That would really propel Indiana because nobody cares about Indiana right now. That's why they're not ranked. They're still a tournament team at the moment. But they've got to do some things. I don't think you can get through the Big Ten Conference by beating Northwestern and Nebraska and hopefully Penn State when they come to Bloomington and those types and make it to the tournament. You're going to have to they beat Ohio State. They're going to have to, but that's not going to be the only, they're going to have a few more wins like that because there are plenty more teams like that in the Big Ten that they're going to have to play.
Right. Well, and I don't know. I mean, there aren't many teams. What would you put? Michigan State, Purdue, and Illinois probably. And well, you probably throw Wisconsin in that category. In a category all by themselves.
And that's a team in Indiana had down 22 points at the half.
Right.
Now, that loss is going to hurt them so much, not because of the loss. The loss doesn't hurt them nearly as what the win would have helped them.
Right. And that's kind of what is the factor to me going into this game. Like, in my opinion, over the past 4 seasons, this game has meant more to Purdue than it has to Indiana, even when Purdue wasn't that good and they were able to win some of those games. Like, it was just evident to me that this game meant a lot more to Purdue than it did to Indiana. And that sounds dumb, but I just don't think Archie Miller put an emphasis on it. I think that's changed. I think that Mike Woodson is going to put an emphasis and has put an emphasis on this game. And the fact that you have an opportunity like this win means more to Indiana than a loss would mean to Purdue at this stage in the game. Purdue's got some quality wins. Indiana has, like you mentioned, the win over Ohio State. They've come close. They were close against Penn State on the road. They were close against Wisconsin on the road. What this would do for their psyche moving forward, to beat not just your rival and to end that losing streak, but then to beat a top 5 team in the country. It's not probably on the same level as it was like a decade ago now when they beat Kentucky on that Watt shot, but it's getting up to that caliber because you're talking about a team that the mentality just hasn't been there, right? I think I think more than talent, it's been a mentality thing. So if you're able to get over this hump, that might propel you forward to the rest of this Big Ten season. That doesn't mean they're going to win the conference, but if you can solidify your spot in the NCAA tournament after not making it for the last 5 years, 6 years, watch out. I think Indiana can beat some really good teams in the Big Ten moving forward if they're able to get this win tonight.
Yeah, and not only getting a win over Purdue, though, that would actually be bad for Purdue in the way of it's Mike Woodson's first time against Purdue. So that, to me, would set kind of a tone. We're like, oh, man, they got a new guy in there. First thing they do is beat Purdue. So I think it would be bigger for Purdue to lose this game than a lot of people think. Not as big as Indiana winning, without question. It's not even close. I agree with you there.
I disagree on that for one reason. If this was Mike Woodson taking over like a Tom Crean type team, then I would agree with you. But this is a group with veteran players. They've all been there. Quite frankly, they've gotten their butt kicked by Purdue the past 3-4 years. So to me, that's why I don't think, yes, it does set a tone. You're not wrong in that. I just don't think it's as bad for Purdue because this is a veteran team. They've got good players. They've improved their shooting. They got some guys through the transfer portal. So in that regard, I just think that this does more for Indiana than it does for Purdue. But having said that, this is a rivalry game. Matt Painter, I know, has put an emphasis on this specific game throughout his tenure in West Lafayette. So it's going to be fun. I mean, the records haven't mattered in the past. This is just going to be a really fun game. I'm glad it's not a 9 p.m. tip. Well, let's just say that because this is 13-4 and what, 15-16-2 for Purdue. This is what you want. This is what the state of Indiana wants. They want these two teams to be at the top of the Big Ten playing their best basketball when they meet. And I think you can argue that if Indiana beats Penn State just a couple of days ago, I mean, look at where Indiana's sitting, even though you did have that I cannot think that loss against Wisconsin, even though you let that slip away.
That one, it hurts just because of what it would have meant to the resume. That's the thing. Tim asked, where's my suit? Well, A, I'm not a student, and B, I'm not a fan. So I'll leave that up to the students. But I think that's going to be a cool thing tonight. The students are supposed to be suiting up, wearing the suit, big, all that talk about the suit. And I was talking about this yesterday. I'm like, why did Mike Woodson have to wear that damn suit coat at Nebraska? There was absolutely no reason. He could have put all this stuff to bed because you know you're going to win that game. You think you're going to win that game. You're wearing the MLK t-shirt anyway. So I'm like, I was thinking he's going to be in sweats for sure. Nope. Right. Had to wear the damn suit coat. So now that talk continues because they still haven't won a road game, not wearing a suit or whatever. So I'm like, oh, well, but I think it's a pretty cool thing tonight for the students just to give them, just to get them in this. There has not been an atmosphere like I think will be tonight at Assembly Hall since, say, the North Carolina game. That's been like 5 years.
What, you think that long? I mean, I'm going to defer to you on that one because I haven't been there, but I mean, that's insane to me.
Well, not during the. I mean, you cannot count Bob Knight returning. That is an event unto itself. Hell, you could have not had a damn game and said Bob Knight's returning to Assembly Hall, and it would have been pretty damn big. So that doesn't count. But yeah, I absolutely. You've got to go back to when Indiana was competitive and knocking off top 5 teams, but that's back during the Crean era. So you haven't seen an environment here for a long time that is like it was for years and years and years. Now, does that mean Indiana wins? No. But that's the kind of environment they have to have every night to start. I mean, all it takes is you get that a big win like that over a Purdue team. Who the hell can't you beat? They're a national championship contender. They're a top 4 team. They're a number 1 seed right now. They are currently a number 1 seed. So if you can beat a number 1 seed, who the hell can't you beat? So the confidence would be just enormous, even though it's at home.
Right. And what a huge home court advantage it's going to be. I mean, I like I said, I'm going to defer to you on the best environment in 5 years, but there's no doubt that this is going to be a huge home court advantage for Indiana, one that they haven't seen in a while. I mean, you throw in the 2020-21 season when you didn't have any fans. This is a program that's hungry for a win. They're excited about their new head coach. They're playing well. Typically, when you have a new head coach, it usually takes some time, and you could make the argument that maybe Indiana isn't quite where they need to be because they've lost a few games they should have won: Syracuse, Penn State, Wisconsin. But at the same time, there's an excitement. They go into this game, the fans go into this game thinking they can win this game. And for the past 4 years, I felt like the energy and the mindset has been, how are we going to find a way to lose this game? And to me, that's not the mindset heading into tonight's game.